So, you want that epic video. They're all the rage. You want that smooth camera movement, those epic drone shots, the perfect lighting. You want all of them. You want something that looks just super dope, super professional. But do you need to hire for that? If so, how do we make sure we're hiring the right people? Are we even making a video? Do we even want a video for the right reason? What's the goal of the video? All of these things are super important, and that is what we're covering today.
I'm your host, Bradley Martin, and this is Clearing the Way, a resource for small business owners.
Hello, humans. I am your host, Bradley Martin, and this is Clearing the Way, a resource for small business. I talk with sales and HR experts, other small business owners, and anyone else that can provide you and me with information to clear our way to success. Today, we are covering videos and marketing and whether or not you need to hire for those. Videos are or can be a huge piece of your marketing strategy. It's super important. They can increase customer engagement. They can increase brand awareness. They can help you move product, help you introduce new products, improve conversion rates. They can do all these things. They can help with all these things. They can do a ton of good for your business. The benefits are clear. But what's not clear, or what may not be clear, is whether or not you actually need to hire somebody to do that. Can you do it yourself? If not, how do we make the right decisions when we're hiring? What do we ask those people? There's a lot, and you probably don't know a lot about video because that's not what you do. It's not what you're supposed to do. So let's walk through how we can approach this situation. Okay, so number one, let's start with, can we do it ourselves or can we not? And this is an important one. It's very easy to get sucked into the trap of video is hard and I need to hire somebody else to do it. And that might be true depending on the types of videos that you're doing. But if we are talking about the regular content, the things that you're posting daily or weekly, you may not need to hire outside early on. You know, when funds are tight and you're starting out, or if funds are just tight in general, or if you don't want to have to deal with hiring, you can probably do a lot of it yourself. If it's something that you have to do regularly, if it's something that you're going to be posting every day or every week, having to rely on somebody else producing it for you, that isn't a part of your team or whatever, like it might, that expense is going to it's going to be pretty costly. So can you do it yourself? Short answer, yeah, you definitely can. Your phone is going to be great for most cases of the things that you need to produce regularly. And by that, I mean, like the things that are content, the content is the focus. So the message that you're speaking or that you're conveying, if that is the focus, the video might not be as important. Like your phone is going to do plenty good enough to not be in the way. Like really, and for that type of content, the most important thing is that the video doesn't distract the viewer from your message. So what do you actually need there? Well, audio is super important. If you're talking about something, and we're not going to focus on the video, we need to at least have good audio because bad audio is very, very difficult to overcome. So there are some easy ways around that. There's plenty of mics that can work with your phone. I'll link some of those below. But if the content is the focus, you can probably shoot it on your phone. If you, and so that'll break down some of those extra barriers that you may have thrown up as a like, oh, I can't do this because I can't afford it, or I can't pay to do it regularly, or I can't schedule with somebody. If you can just get a mic that will work with your phone, you'll be able to do a lot, in a tripod. You'll be able to do a lot by yourself that's going to cover most of your regular content, and that is going to be most important for you. Getting those things up and running and produced regularly, that is going to be way more important than having one super, super dope video. Now, eventually you want to get all the cool stuff, all the sexy videos. You want that eventually. But when you're starting out, or when you're early on, or when you're trying to just do things more regularly, like take the approach to just get it done. Use your phone, use an external mic, or, I mean, if your phone mic is good, don't worry about another mic. Just make sure your lighting's good. And just do it that way. Now, that is mostly true if we're talking about things where the content is the focus. If the content isn't the focus, if we're just trying to enhance the brand, or you've determined that you can't do it yourself, now we can work into the hiring process. Before we get there, there's a couple different platforms that you can use that are free. I'll link some of those down below to do some of the editing, some of the captions, all of those things. You can do all of those very simply, and in a lot of cases, very cheaply or free. So just don't let the cost of a videographer or a marketing agency or whatever you're looking for, don't let that cost be the thing that stops you from starting to produce your regular content. Because it can get very, very easy to look at some of the companies or the brands that are years ahead of you and have a lot more dollars to spend on that stuff, and think that you have to have those things. And being consistent is going to be more important than making, again, if you can only do one dope video a year, it's going to be way better for you to just start posting things regularly, and then work up to being able to pay for the that better content. Okay, so now we've covered the doing it yourself, surface level at least. But now let's think about if you actually do need to hire an outside freelancer or agency or something else to produce your videos. You see somebody else with a dope video, you want a dope video, but how do we get that? How do we actually get that? And maybe before we get there, like, do you actually need a dope video? So let's talk about it. Is a dope video actually what you need? What are you trying to accomplish? Before you move into the talking to agencies or talking to freelancers or talking to anybody, you need to figure out what it is, or determine what it is that you're trying to accomplish by producing this dope video. If you want to increase foot traffic, cool. If you want to release a new product and you want something to showcase that, cool. If you just want a dope video, cool. But the hiring process for all of those things is going to be a little bit different, because going to somebody that is if your goal is, I just want something cool, I don't actually care if it does anything for the business. This is more of a like passion thing. Like, I just want to look legit. That's fine. Now all you need to do is find somebody that can produce that thing. But if you're coming into this thinking, I want to do this, and I want to do this, and I want to accomplish this, and like we said, it's you want to increase traffic, or you want to release a new product, or you want to do something like that, the approach to that is going to be a lot different than just making something cool, and finding that person or the company that can do that. There's some questions that we're going to work through to find that right person. So step one, figure out what you want to accomplish. What do you want to accomplish with this video? Be very clear about that with yourself. Okay, cool. Now, we know what we want to accomplish. We know what the goals are. Maybe this is a series of videos that we want to do. Awesome. Wonderful. Now, how much money do we have to spend on this? Do we have a couple $100, a couple $1,000? What do we have to spend? What are we okay with spending? Be clear about that at the beginning with both yourself and with whoever it is that you're talking to. And what can be important here is to think about it in terms of what you're getting out of the project. So, if I think I'm only willing to spend $100, but I want a goal, or I have a goal in mind that I think is going to increase my business by 50 grand, like that videographer might come back to you with a little bit of a higher price tag on these videos. Especially now that we're thinking about this in terms of marketing, not just in terms of making a cool video. So think about that budget in terms of what it could do for you. Some of those things might be difficult to measure, but that's what you're going to talk to the videographers about. If we think it's going to help your business, think about the budget that you are willing to spend in terms of that. Okay, so we've got a goal. We've got a rough idea for the budget. You've contacted a few companies, a few freelancers. So now how do we determine who is actually right for us? Okay, let's start with some examples of their work. You can probably find these before you've even contacted them. You've probably seen their website or their social media. You've gotten a reference, a business owner that you know has referred them to you. Great. Let's look at their work first. Maybe they've got some things that you really enjoy. Awesome. Let's move forward. Maybe somebody has referenced, you've got a referral, and maybe you looked at their work and it wasn't quite what you were looking for, but it might still be worth reaching out, seeing if they have any examples. But I think what is important here, so that you're not wasting time or just so that you're not disappointed, is if you're not seeing anything, you've asked them for work, they've given you some work, you've looked at their website, you've looked at these references, and the work that you're seeing isn't your style or isn't something, you're not seeing any indications that they can produce what you have envisioned, maybe don't reach out to them or don't move forward, because it's unlikely that this project is going to be the first one that they produce that is going to just magically be the thing that you like. Now, if you have a lower budget and you're dealing with freelancers or newer businesses that haven't done a ton of work, like you've probably been in that boat. So you know what that's like when you're first starting out. You don't have a ton of examples, so you're going to get a cheaper cost, but you're both kind of taking a little bit of a risk here. That's something to also consider. Like you might be able to find that wonderful deal because you found a really good freelancer who only has a couple months under their belt and you got a great deal. So look at their work, obviously. First place to start. Great. So we've moved past that. They have some things that you enjoy. You think you might like them. Awesome. Now, we're assuming that we're talking about a project that we want to accomplish some type of goal. We're beyond just want something cool. So in that case, let's ask these freelancers or businesses what experience they have with video marketing for small businesses. This is super important, especially when you are talking to some of the freelancers or people that are starting out. Again, you might get a great deal and that's what you're looking for. But it's a good thing to check, to talk through. So if the videographer is more event focused or wedding focused, or they make really good videos, they may not have as much experience on the marketing side. So if you need input on what this video looks like, if you only have a goal in mind and you're not sure how to accomplish that, it's going to be a little bit more important that the person that you're hiring has experience in producing videos that actually convert.
This episode is brought to you by the City of Washington, Citywide Development Corporation. If you're a small business in Washington and you need another set of eyes on your situation, or you need help growing, you're not sure what's going on with the business, you can't figure out how to get out of the current struggles you're going through, you're just looking for ways to become a little bit more efficient, anything else like that, or if you don't know where to go next, you don't know who to find to fix whatever the problem is, reach out. The WCDC is a free resource. We're here to help. The links are down below. Reach out. Like I said, it's a free resource. Now back to the episode.
Again, you might decide that you just want something that looks cool, and that's great. Now the bar and the questions, again, you don't have to go through a lot of this because you're just looking for someone that can make something really cool. Awesome. That's wonderful. Okay, so next up, does this person and or company have experience in your industry? So there's a couple pros and cons to this one, to each side of this one. So let's say they have experience in your industry. This might be great for a couple reasons. One, they already know what the target market looks like. They already know how to reach those people. They have experience producing things that convert within your industry. And that can be difficult to find. So when you find it, that might be awesome. Okay, cool. That's the plus side. The downside is, or let's go with the pro to the other side, which is if they're not within your industry, they may be able to come in and have a very, very fresh look at everything. So you end up with something that doesn't look like anything else produced within your industry because you've got this outsider or person without experience coming in completely fresh. So that could also be great. Both sides of that, like, again, it just kind of depends on what you're looking for. Depends on what you're looking for. So the last thing that we'll cover today, what is the process? What is their process for production, creation? What does all this look like for you if you're working with this company? So will you be kind of consulted along the way? Are you passing it off completely to them? Are they handling everything? Do you have to help with the script? Do you have to come up with the script? Is there a script? Do you have to provide a location? What kind of timeline are we working with? How about revisions? What kind of revisions are you going to get? How many? All of those things are important to talk about. Now, there's some other like smaller details that are probably less important early on. Could you ask about gear? Yeah, sure, you could. That might not mean anything to you though. If you don't know anything about camera gear, as long as what you're seeing looks legit and looks like the things that you want to show, it doesn't really matter, in my opinion. As always, like anything that we're talking about here is it's my opinion. So if what you're seeing looks like you want it to look, I don't think it's as important what gear they're using. That's my take for a lot of like this. If we're talking about smaller projects, these, social media based, or actually, I think I might actually feel that for most things. Like if the output is what you want, I don't think it's as important what the gear is. My mind might change, but for now, that's kind of how I feel about it. Okay, so all of these things are super, super important. All of those questions that we just covered. Now, the answers to those, they might vary pretty greatly based on what your budget is. If you got a super low budget, you might have to carry some of the weight. That's okay. That's part of having, if you can't spend as much, you might have to help along the way. So that's all the questions we need to be considering. If we've hiring anybody outside it's a little difficult, but it's important for you to take the time before you start talking to anybody to cover those couple things up front. Cover your budget, cover your goals, figure out what you're trying to get accomplished with this video project, and then start reaching out to people. Now, maybe you have a rough idea and you can start working through these ideas with whoever you're going with, and maybe that's part of the process. Maybe that's part of your hiring process. You have a rough idea. You kind of think you want to work on this, this, and this. You start talking to a couple people. They've got some great ideas. You end up going with the first one. Okay, awesome. Like you don't have to have it completely nailed down, but you need to know at least whether or not I'm just trying to produce something cool or I want to be working towards whatever this goal is. At least have some idea there. And like I said, some of these things might be better for you to shoot on your own, or more feasible for you to shoot on your own. But some of these might be best left to the professionals. So determine your goals. Why do you want to produce the content? Find someone that fits your style. We covered it all. You know the process now. Can you do it yourself? What's your budget? What's your goals? Work through those questions, and you should be in a great spot. If you enjoyed today's episode, leave it a review. Share it with your friends. I'm sure you've got somebody in your friend group that they're just starting out and, they want that cool video and you're telling them, hey man, maybe it's not a great idea to spend $7,000 on a video right now. You only have $6,000 in the bank account, in the business's account. Maybe not. And they're not listening. We'll send them this. Maybe I can change their mind. And maybe I can't. But if you got anything out of this, share it with a friend, leave a review, do all those things. It's super helpful. If you have any guests or suggestions for episodes, it is always super, super wonderful when you send those my way. I love doing the interviews. They're fun. These are also great. Let me know if you have any suggestions. I will do my best to accommodate. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Share this with your friends. Have the best week of your lives. And I will see you next week. Thanks. Thanks for listening, watching, wherever you're consuming this. I'm your host, Bradley Martin, and this is Clearing the Way, a resource for small business owners.